Hello, everyone, and welcome to this webinar focusing on Bigin and its integration with Zoho Invoice. Really glad that all of you could join us today. I'm Harini, a product marketer from Bigin, and joining me today is Apirami, a product expert from Zoho Invoice. Today, we'll be talking about two things that trip up a lot of small business owners: winning leads and actually collecting payments from customers. Whether you're a Bigin user looking to streamline your invoicing process or a Zoho Invoice user who is looking to manage their customers better, or someone who just wants both sides of their business, sales and invoicing, to work in perfect sync, you're in the right place. But before we jump into the webinar, I wanted to quickly read the room. So I'm going to post a poll which will help me understand how all of you are currently managing your leads and deals. So I've posted a poll. I request you all to engage with it. Thank you, everyone, for your enthusiastic participation. And from what I can see, most of you are currently using a spreadsheet or nothing in particular, which means that you are probably juggling 10 different sheets and taking minutes and hours of your time to figure out what exactly is going out with each lead and what a particular customer needs. So, by the end of this session, you will be walking away with a solution that will help you understand why spreadsheets are actually costing you more time and money, and how Begin can act as an excellent alternative for your spreadsheets. Before we jump in, I also wanted to mention that we'll be posting polls throughout this session, so I request you all to engage with those as well. And if you have any doubts, you can click on the dedicated Q&A tab where you can post any and all questions that you may have. Our product experts will respond to it either directly in the chat box or they will take it up during the live Q&A session, which will happen towards the end of this webinar. With that, I wanted to introduce you all to someone, Emma. Emma is the founder of Zilka, a content writing agency. She is good at what she does, her clients love her work, and her team is growing. On the surface, things look great. But here's what Emma's day actually looks like. She's chasing a lead on WhatsApp, updating a spreadsheet with the deal status, and sending a follow up email she wrote from scratch because she doesn't know anything about the customer that she's reaching out to. And somewhere between all of this chaos, she is supposed to actually run her business, which is becoming quite difficult. Sounds familiar? Well, Emma has no idea where things stand. She doesn't know who to follow up with today, and she definitely doesn't have a clean record of what was discussed with each client. And that is where Begin comes into the picture. Begin is a CRM built specifically for small businesses. It is not a watered down enterprise tool, but rather a tool built with all the fundamentals a small business actually needs. It is easy to set up and easy to use. You'll be up and running in under 30 minutes, and it fits the way a small business actually works. Emma signed up for Bigin and got her entire system up and running in under a day. And she had even, captured most of her leads, and converting them was becoming easier. So, what did Begin actually give Emma? Every client, every lead, every conversation, all was available in one place, which meant that she didn't have to dig through different email inboxes, or she didn't have to jump between tabs. She got different, and she was even able to set up different pipelines to visualize different processes in her operations. So I'll be taking you to begin and showing what exactly a pipeline looks like, so you can look forward to that. Apart from that, with Begin in place, she was able to integrate her CRM with different modes of communication, be it WhatsApp, email, or SMS, or even social media channels, which meant that she was able to meet her customers right where they are at and communicate with them while having all the required context in that same window. On top of that, Begin's AI agents also handle the stuff that used to take up most of her time, either through our powerful automation or with our AI agents and AI powered features that take care of most of her follow ups, give her smart suggestions about cross selling and churn, and analyzing what exactly went wrong with the deal that was lost, and even help her manage her day in a better manner. Now, when it comes to her schedule, Emma started every morning knowing exactly what needed her attention. And at the end of every month, with Begin's detailed dashboards, she was able to see what's working, where deals are getting lost, and what exactly is the status of her business. With that, we'll be switching over to Begin, and I'll be walking you through the UI and helping you understand the basics of Begin. So, first up, we have pipelines, which is the heart of Begin. Every single lead that Emma generates, be it through social media ads, her own website, through referrals, or even ads which are run on any third party sites like Shopify. So all of these leads will automatically flow into Begin, because Begin is well connected with any of the sources that you use for capturing leads. As soon as a lead is captured from any of these sources, it will automatically flow into a pipeline. A pipeline is basically a visualization of any customer facing operation. In this instance, Emma has created a content planner pipeline. So, this pipeline divides the content planning and creation process into several stages. Every single content planning request comes into this pipeline, lands in the first stage, and when Emma clicks on that deal, she'll be able to view all the details related to that contact and their requirements. Then she can add notes based on her conversations, create tasks which let her know the deadline for the drafts, set up meetings or calls with the client to better understand their requirements, even have email conversations, and and if there are any files that or design elements or branding requirements that the client wants to share with her, she can store them in this file as well. So this particular record will give her a 360-degree view of the client and their requirements. Now, as Emma works on a particular client's requirements, she can move them through the pipeline through every single stage, which means that she'll be able to know which stage every single lead is in and what exactly she has to do next pertaining to them. Next up, and as you can see, you can create multiple pipelines. Here, Emma has created different pipelines for managing all her website launch activities, and even a dedicated pipeline for managing any press release requests that she might have received. So, with different pipelines, you will be able to separately manage different customer facing operations from the same platform. Next up, we have the contacts module, which will essentially act as a storehouse for all the information you have related to a particular contact. Then we have the companies module. If your business is usually involved in deals with companies and you need to be in touch with different contacts from the same company, you can store that information in Bigin as well. Then we have the products module, which is essentially an inventory of all the products and services that you offer. Now, with Begin's latest product catalog feature, this is not just a passive storehouse for all the products or services that you offer. With a single click, you'll be able to create a no code web page which will list all these services or products and allow your customers to place an order, make a payment, and every single order placed through that catalog will be sent to the pipeline for fulfillment. Next up, we have the activities module. Like I mentioned, Emma was able to lay her day out in this calendar, thus ensuring that she was always aware of what needs to be done on a particular day and what deadlines are fast approaching. Finally, we have the dashboards module. So, Begin is not just a passive storehouse for different lead and customer related data. It actively leverages the data present in all of these modules to generate comprehensive and attractive charts and KPIs, which will give Emma insights into important business metrics like the number of deals which were closed in a month, the number of content writing requests that are still pending, the number of clients which were acquired newly within a week, and even the revenue generated in a particular quarter. No matter what criteria she uses or you use to define and understand the health of your business, that can be tracked using Begin. And next up, we have automation. So, with Begin, automating your repetitive day to day tasks is quite easy, be it the assignment of any incoming content planning requests to different members of her team, or sending out a welcome email which will list all of the services that she's offering, or even segmenting different leads based on the requests that they have. All of these activities can be automated with a workflow which is quite simple to set up. With that, we've understood the basics of Begin and how it can help you as a business to streamline the way you capture your leads, nurture them, and finally convert them into customers. Now comes the $1 million question. I'll be posting a poll here, so please keep an eye out for that. What happens after you close a deal? Logically, once the deal is closed, you need to collect payment from your customers for the products or services that you offer. But in order to do that, you'll have to send them a quote or an invoice of any sort. So, what are you doing right now to achieve that? Are you manually creating that invoice, or is it someone else in your team handling it, or are you using a tool which is not at all talking to your CRM, which means that it does not know who your customer is and what they have purchased? Okay, so from what I can see, most of you are either manually creating an invoice or you're using a tool which is disconnected from your CRM, which has its own fair share of problems. Now, I'll be handing things over to Abhirami, who will be walking you through the pain points of having an invoicing software which doesn't talk to your CRM. And she'll also be walking us through Zoho Invoice as a product and how it can help you streamline the invoicing aspects of your business. Over to you, Abhirami.
Thank you, Harini, for walking us through how Begin helps businesses manage customer relationships and close deals effectively. Now, closing a deal is a great achievement, but that's not where the journey ends. To understand this better, let's connect this with the Emma story that Harini mentioned. With a well organized sales process in Begin, Emma has been able to bring in new customers and close exciting opportunities. However, she soon realizes that winning a customer is only half the journey. Once the work is delivered, a whole new set of responsibilities starts begin. Needs to create professional invoices, configure taxes based on her regional requirements, collect payments, follow up on them, and gain valuable insights into their business. As the number of customers and deals grow, these small tasks gradually turn into a significant amount of administrative work. Emma did not start Zilker to spend her time on chasing payments or updating spreadsheets. She wants to focus on creating great content, building stronger customer relationship, and growing her business. That's exactly where Zoho Invoice comes in. It's an invoicing application that is built to keep up all these requirements. Now, rather than just talking about it, let's see how Emma uses Zoho Invoice to manage her business. So, this is how a Zoho Invoice organization would look like. Now, as Emma's billing journey always begins with a customer, she needs a well organized place to manage her customer details. Whether she is in touch with a business or with an individual person, she can manage it accordingly and enter all the details pertaining to a customer. And the next part, items. She provides various services, say case study writing, email newsletter copy, landing page copywriting. Imagine having to enter all the details pertaining to an item, say description, rate, every time you create an invoice. This is obviously a tedious task. So, in the items module of Zoho Invoice, you can seamlessly create and save the item details. So, whenever you create a transaction, you simply have to select the saved item. Now, Emma's billing journey does not always begin with an invoice. Most of the time, customers would ask her to raise a quote or an estimate. So, using the quotes module, she can create professional quotes and send it to the customer. And as soon as the customer accepts the quote, she can convert it to an invoice with a click of a button. She can mention the preferred due date, terms, etc., and send it to the customer. Now, Emma has found out a great tool to manage her invoicing process. But having the right tool is not just enough. What truly makes a difference is how well these tools work together. Now, both Bigin and Zoho Invoice are great application individually, but managing them separately can create few challenges as well. So now let's see the challenges of using Bigin and Zoho Invoice separately. First, switching between applications. Emma already has her company's contacts and product details in Begin. Then why would she need to enter the same details again here in Zoho Invoice? Second, duplicate data entry. Entering the same information again in different application or different places does not only increases time, it increases the chances of making mistakes. And third, gap between sales and finance. Emma's sales team is busy closing deals, whereas finance team is managing her invoices. So how would a person in a finance know that it's the right time to raise an invoice to a customer? Someone from sales has to manually go and inform a person in finance to raise an invoice. Now, what if suppose an update gets missed or a particular message doesn't reach out to a right person at the right time? So Emma find herself chasing updates, double checking if everything is on track, and worrying that something might slip through. What she really needs is a system where all these data are in sync, teams are aligned, and there is no back and forth. That's exactly what Begin with Zoho Invoice integration helps you achieve. Now, let's see how we can integrate both these applications and give this seamless flow a life. Go to Settings in your Zoho Invoice organization, tap on Integrations, under Zoho apps, you will be able to find your Bigin application. So when you attempt to connect it for the first time, you will have a connect option over here. So I have already integrated it. So once you tap on the connect option, you will be redirected to your Bigin application. There you can go to settings, toppings, and you'll find your Zoho Invoice application. You can tap on manage and integrate the appropriate organization that you want to integrate with the Bigin application. Now you can configure the modules to be synced, companies, contacts, and products, which is the core functionality of this integration. Now, before setting up the sync preferences, let's again connect with the Emma story. Imagine Emma is doing a business with a company called ABC. So she'll manage the company details here in the company's module of Begin. And a person, Ethan Walker, is associated with this particular company. So she'll manage the contacts detail here in the contacts module. But when you come here to Zoho Invoice, you have a single customer module with business type and individual type and contact persons associated with it. So now let's see how we can integrate both these applications. So you can configure the sync preferences between them. You can configure which modules needs to be synced with Zoho Invoice. You can choose companies alone, contacts alone, or companies and their contacts. So let's see how the sync preferences work when we choose each of these preferences. When you choose companies alone, it will be synced as customers with business type. And if you choose contacts alone, it will be synced as customers with individual type. And if you choose companies and their contacts, it will be synced as customers with business type and a contact person associated with it. Now, imagine a person, say Jerry, who is not associated with any company. He's an individual person who reaches out to Emma and asks her to provide a service. Now, what if suppose Emma decides to sync his detail as well to the Zoho Invoice application? So here once she selects companies and their contacts, she'll have an option to include contacts which are not associated with any companies. So if she enables this option, this particular contact will be synced as customers with individual type. Now, which records from Begin needs to be synchronized? So you can choose which record from Begins needs to be synchronized as the name suggests. So say here, if I choose new last week view, only the records that has been created for the past 7 days will be synced with the Zoho Invoice application, which makes it for the person in finance to look into a clear data without having to look into inactive customer details. So this is completely based on your preference. You can choose any of the predefined view that we offer, and also you can create any custom views and sync which record from Begin needs to be synchronized. And duplicate handling. Now imagine this Ethan Walker reaches out to both finance team and Begin team individually asking to provide them for a service. Now what if suppose finance team and sales team are not in touch? The sales team will create a record of this customer in Begin and manage it on their end. And a person in finance would manage a separate record of this customer, and they would end up pricing two invoice for the same customer and for the same service that he or she wants. So we need to handle these kind of duplicates, for which we have three options. So if Emma chooses skip, the new record will be skipped and existing will remain, and clone will create a new record of that customer, and overwrite will update the new record with the existing record. And you can map the fields to be synchronized between both the application to ensure that all the entities are in track. Now imagine if there is a field like tax ID in customers module in Zoho Invoice, but you don't have this particular field in Begin. So in this case, you can even create a custom field in Begin and map it accordingly. So this is how you set a sync preference for the companies and contacts. Similarly, you can select the sync preferences for items module as well. So you can select which record from begins needs to be synchronized, and you can choose how to handle the duplicates, and you can map fields between the application. Okay, you're all set now. You have set up the integration and you have chosen your sync preferences. So after it's done, after the initial sync, the data will automatically sync between both the application after every 2 hours. And once you set up the integration and go to the customers module, you'll find a begin tab over there where you can clearly see if this particular record has been created in Zoho Invoice or in Begin. And you have a clear look on when it has been created, modified time, and so on. Now, if you make any changes to these records here in Zoho Invoice, it will be updated to Begin, and vice versa would happen. You can also manage the sync. Whenever you want to update the sync preferences, you can simply tap on the edit option and update it over here. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this automatic sync will occur after every 2 hours. Now, you do not want to wait for that particular 2 hour. You can simply tap on this sync now option to happen the sync instantaneously. And if you want to pass the sync records, you can simply use this option. And you can also resume it whenever required. And then if you don't want to run the complete sync and want to sync only a particular customer record, you can go to the respective customer, more, and resync, tap on resync contact from begin so that this particular contact alone will be synced again instantaneously. Now, you will have a Bigin customers view in customers module. So when you tap on this, all the customer record that has been synced between both the application will be listed out, giving you a valuable insight. Now, let's see how we can create an invoice for the customer for whom we have synced the records from Bigin. Now you can simply select the customer name over here. As soon as you select it, you will find an option to associate a deal. When you tap on it, you will have a clear view on the deal that is associated with this particular customer, with the stage, closing date, and amount, giving you a clear idea on whether it's the right time to raise an invoice for this customer. You can associate this deal and raise an invoice to the customer. Now, imagine a person, say John. So you have created a record for this particular customer in the last month, and you have set the sync preferences to sync only the last week records. So in this case, obviously, as this customer has been created in the last month, this record would not be synced with Zoho Invoice. Now, Emma doesn't want to update the sync preferences as it would affect all the customer records. And she doesn't want to create a record manually over here in Zoho Invoice as well, as she already has the details in Begin. So what she can do now to create an invoice for this particular customer? She can tap on the advanced customer search option, go to in Begin and search for this particular contact. So even if this particular record hasn't been synced, you can associate that company or contact over here in Zoho Invoice and raise an invoice for them. For now, I'm going with the one that is synced. So now just look into this invoice number. It is invoice 26. So I'm raising an invoice for this particular customer. Now, as soon as I create this, I go to the pipelines, deals. You can see here the invoice has been synced instantaneously in the Begin application. So giving a person in sales team a clear insight. So if it hasn't been raised, he or she can also follow up with the person in finance and ask them to raise it. Similarly, you can associate a deal with the quote and raise it. It will also be synced with the Begin application. Now, if suppose a person in sales has to raise a quote or an invoice by themselves without having to wait for the finance team to raise it, they can even tap on this quote or invoices option over here and raise an invoice for this customer. Now, And another important thing to note out. So can also view the sync history between both the application in the integration page. Just tap on this drop down and go to show sync history. You will find a clear view on the records that has been synced between both the application. If there are any errors with syncing, it will also be displayed over here. You can tap on that, get to know about it, and you can fix this and sync it. Now, with Bigin and Zoho Invoice integration, you achieve a unified workflow, automatic data synchronization, and seamless collaboration between your same sales and finance team. Now, Harini will be explaining us some of the advanced automation that we can achieve between Bigin and Zoho Invoice using Zoho Flow. Over to you, Harini.
Thank you, Abhirami. So, like I had mentioned, Begin does offer a lot of inbuilt automation, which can automate repetitive tasks like the assignment of leads, scheduling of follow up, so on and so forth. But when it comes to automating invoicing, we need to bring Zoho Flow into the picture. So I'm going to quickly share my screen, and I hope that you can see. I've created a Zoho Flow action here, which will basically ensure that every single time a particular pipeline deal is moved to a stage in a pipeline, the invoice is automatically generated. So the trigger here is that inside Begin, the pipeline stage value should change to closed one. So that is what I've configured as a trigger in both of these pipelines. Every single time a particular deal in either of these pipelines moves to the closed one stage, this flow will be triggered. And what will happen is that the details of the contacts will be fetched from the pipeline, and the items which are associated with that deal will also be fetched, and then the invoice will be generated and sent out automatically. So this here is just a dummy flow that I've created, that I've configured. If you want to know what exactly are the steps and the mapping that need to be set in place in order for this to work, you can reach out to us at support@bigin.com and we'll get back to you. So this is basically an overview of how the flow should work. You can try this out on your own. It's quite easy to set up. And if you have any doubts, you can reach out to us at support@bigin.com and we'll help you set it up for your organization. So, with that, I'll hand things over to Abhirami again, who will uh, talk a little bit more about the extended functionality of Zoho Invoice, and then head us over into the Q&A section of this webinar.
Now, there are few other features in Zoho Invoice that are worth noting out. So let's explore them as well now. You can create, we offer various predefined templates in Zoho Invoice application for each transaction that you create, say invoices, codes, credit notes, etc. You can use any of these predefined templates and you can even customize them based on your requirements with your organization logo, authorized signature, etc. and send it to your customer. Now, an invoice becomes successful only when it turns into a payment, right? So in Zoho Invoice application, we offer various payment gateway support in our application. So you can integrate a Zoho Invoice with any of the payment gateways that we offer and collect online payments from your customer. And if suppose you have received a payment via offline, say cash, you can simply tap on the record payment and mention the payment mode, date, etc., and record the payment over here. Now, what if suppose you didn't receive a payment on time? Payment follow up is a crucial step in any business. As business owners here, I guess you might have also followed up your customers for payments. So now I would like to understand how you do this in general. So let's have a quick poll. What's the biggest challenge with payment follow-ups that you think is? Remembering follow-ups, writing reminder emails, tracking payment status, or all of the above? Just do give us an answer to this. Okay, it seems all of these has been a challenge to most of you. So whatever be the challenges that you think are with the payment follow-ups, in Zoho Invoice, you can handle this seamlessly. So you can set up an automated payment reminder in our application. So you can configure the email template that has to be sent to your customer. You can set the number of reminders that has to be sent, and you can set when this particular reminder has to be sent as well. So once you set this up, an automated reminder email will be sent to the customers. You do not need to send it manually. Now, businesses does not always work as planned. What if suppose Emma needs to provide a refund and if she needs to adjust an invoice amount? She can manage it using the credit notes module in our application. She can even manage her business expenses in the expenses module by clearly mentioning out the expense category and if it's billable, non-billable, or she can even reimburse for the expense that she has done. As a service-based business, she usually charge her customers for the time that she work on a particular project. In that case, she can simply create a project over here and log the time and raise an invoice for the customer based on the time that she has logged in. Now, imagine Emma is providing a monthly newsletter writing service to a particular customer. So she'll have to raise an invoice to the same customer for the same amount of time. So to handle this, instead of manually reminding this and then raising an invoice each month, she can simply create a recurring invoice once in Zoho Invoice and set the frequency that she wants to send the invoice with. So based on the start date and the frequency that you have set in, it will be automatically sent to the customer monthly. So Emma doesn't don't want to send invoices manually every time each month. And customers' billing journey does not always ends with a payment. Sometimes customers might want a clear view on the transaction that they have done with your business. So you can give them access to a customer portal feature that we offer in our application. So using the customer portal feature, the customer can themselves sign up for it and then they can look into the codes, invoices, credit notes that has been raised against them and have a clear view on it. They can even make payment to it seamlessly within the customer portal or accept the code directly from here. They can even rate your service from here. Now, Emma's business is growing exponentially with Bigin and Zoho Invoice. Now, Emma needs answers to few questions like how much payments are outstanding and which customer brings in more revenue. So instead of manually preparing spreadsheets, Emma can access detailed reports and get business insights directly within Zoho Invoice and make informed decisions. She can also gain valuable insights from the dashboard. Now, take a moment to look into all of the things that we have discussed right now: customer management, codes, invoice creation, recurring invoices, automated payment reminders, template customization, credit notes, expenses, and time tracking. When you look into a solution with these powerful capabilities, you might expect this to come with a subscription fee. But here's the best part. Zoho Invoice is a 100% free application. We provide this in web app, Android, iOS, iPad, desktop, and even in watchOS. So if you are a Zoho Begin user or someone who is joining us today and haven't explored Zoho Invoice yet, this is the perfect time to try it out. Just give it a try and see how much effort and time it saves for your business. And that brings us to the end of the session. Hope it was helpful. If you have any questions, you can drop your questions in the Q&A, and if you need any further assistance in future, you can always drop a mail to support@zohoinvoice.com for invoice related queries and support@bigin.com for Bigin related queries. We are available 24/5 and we'll be happy to assist you. Thank you once again.